don't do that.
There we go. I think we got connecting to audio. I'm going to just go ahead and get started here because I believe we are at 7:30 on my end. So here we go. Welcome to AbilityMKE Now. My name is Sue Roskoff. AbilityMKE Now is a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities. And here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. I am so excited to be bringing in an absolutely lovely guest to join us tonight. This is Edie Raether joining us, and I need to brag a little bit about her before she comes on in. Edie is an effervescent catalyst who exudes wit, wisdom, energy, and enthusiasm. She is the Maestro of Motivation and is known for her high content keynotes that provide power tools to optimize performance. A change strategist and brain trainer, Edie gets to the root of productivity problems with mind mastery methods that challenge the way you think to accelerate innovation and revolutionize work. I am so happy to have you joining us tonight. How are you?
I'm great. It's a choice. Why would I be anything else?
Oh, and that's the right attitude. I love that.
I talk a lot about conscious choice. It's actually in my TED Talk. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, and I know you've done some TED Talks. Tell us a little bit about that.
I've done two. I think I will get ready for another one. The first one is Brain Fitness for Kids, Cloning the DNA of Einstein. And in it, because I ask people, what is the difference between you and Oprah Winfrey and you and Albert Einstein? It's one thing. It's how you think. So I am in the business of thinking bigger, better, bolder. That's what works. And so the first talk on Brain Fitness for Kids actually reveals all of the magic, all of the neuroscience and psychology that is woven into the fabric of my children's character building program, which is I Believe I Can Fly. It's wingsforwishes.com. But I've just created a 501c3. So if anybody, if it's free, it's for me. I am looking for recipients that I can help. And, I also wrote a book on bullying. So there's an extension. This one is 3 to 9, the I Believe I Can Fly. But then I have another program, which is Flying High, Rising Above. And that's for teens, and it includes bullying. So really what I focus on, and at the core, is really upgrading your mental software. It's all about mindset mastery. And I just give people the neuropsychological power tools to make that happen. But then the second TEDx talk I did, it'll be 2 years in April. And that one is AI and dopamine. Is AI and digital dopamine making us dumb? And I will tell you, Sue, it is. Do you know that the average IQ of my group, and I'm in my 80s, still going strong, but I do all of it. But and I am from Wisconsin, I think I told you that, and went to Madison. But do you know that the average IQ in my age group is almost 15 points higher than a young person in school today? And so it isn't just digital dopamine. There's just a lot of factors. but that certainly is one. And I'm talking about excessive screen time. Can I just share one thing that I think is pretty scary? But if you take a brain scan of somebody that just took a hit of cocaine or heroin, and you took a brain scan of a kid that has too much screen time, they look very much alike. It's doing brain damage, destroying our imagination, our creativity. So do I use AI? Heck yes. Heck yes. But it's a tool. It doesn't control me. I control it. But you have to realize that the brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And if all we have to do is press a button, then we're not using this. So if AI, by pressing a button, is doing it all for you, it's going into atrophy. I think I told you when we were talking about disabilities, my bachelor's from Madison is actually, it's in occupational therapy. And so I was telling you that when disabilities, I was in the forefront. It was in the 60s that we were fighting to have sidewalks adapted, that there had to be elevators so that people in wheelchairs could have their personal freedom. So I get it. But you know what? And so that's my second talk is AI and digital dopamine making us dumb. So that's almost to talk about. I want to say one more thing about dopamine. And I think we have to realize that dopamine is the internal driving force behind all behaviors, all habits, everything that we do. I am, my birthday's next month, so I'll be 81. And I do work 12, 14 hours a day, and my kids are like, my God, go on you know what I mean? I just got to make a difference. I got to work harder than you because I have fewer years left on this earth. But do you know that I know why I work hard? Because I get a dopamine fix from it. I love checking things off my list. I love completing, I'm going to be writing my 8th book. Trust no one, love everyone. It's the memoirs of my life to teach other people the lessons so they don't go down the same rabbit hole I did. But the bottom line is, whether it's good or bad dopamine. And so kids that are scrolling on their phone, this is their only source of dopamine. I was out playing. I was out skiing, sledding. I live on a lake. I don't see people water skiing anymore because it requires a skill. They'll be tubing. When I first moved here 20 years ago, they were water skiing. I can see the change every day. I'm the only person that's ever swimming in the lake. I've got neighbors. Nobody swims. I'm the only one. Go to a pool, go to a hotel. The parents are all watching their kids play in the pool. Wait a minute. I'm 50 years older than most of those parents. Get in the dang pool, right? Move your body. I just did a program out in LA on ageless, LES at ageless, and it's on brains, biology, and beliefs. And everything comes down to beliefs. That and dopamine are at the core of everything. So I just was going to say this, and I'll shut up and let you ask me some questions. But when I was thinking, when you were saying, because I didn't know what this show was about, and I'm very spontaneous, so that's okay. But limitation, you know what the greatest limitation is? It's just one thing. It isn't having an arm or a leg. Yeah. It's self-limiting beliefs. And if you've got them, it's time you get a divorce from your self-limiting beliefs. That's the only thing that can stop you. And I know that for a fact because as an international motivational keynote speaker and all that good stuff, I have seen tons of other keynote speakers. And I'm just thinking of the guy from New Zealand that I saw just when we were talking before. The guy from New Zealand, probably saw him, I don't know, 25 years ago. He had no arms or legs, but he was sitting up on a pole. No arms or legs doing these acrobatic tricks. Okay. So don't give me excuses. Get rid of the excuses. That's another limitation. I better write that one down, put that in my next book. And then I happened to remember, I looked him up a few years ago, and he has passed on. And a lot of my friends have at this point in life. I don't like that. But his name, I still remember, was Pete Strudwick. And I was at an NSA, National Speakers Association conference. I was sitting next to him. And he was not an Olympian. He was a marathon runner. And maybe Olympians for Paralympics or something like that. But anyway, he had no feet. And he was a runner with no feet. He was running on his stump. You know what I mean? So as a motivational speaker, yeah, I have, I just been with people like that. As an OT, I've seen it. And I have vacation rentals in my house. And I have people that claim they have disabilities and they spend more time trying to. And if you have a disability, you're entitled to some of these benefits, right? He doesn't have a disability. You know what I mean? Give me a break. And I just thought back when I worked in New York State rehab that there was a guy there that was quadriplegic. And I remember we taught him how to paint with a mouth stick, and it was a mouth brush. And they were doing stuff that gave them fulfillment in another way. You know what? And as long as we're talking about that disability, I thought of something else. See, I make your job easy, Sue, because I'm like a wind up thought. Yeah, I know. Since I am from Wisconsin, I'll tell you why I've thought about it. I do like performing. And you know what I think it goes back to? I got to tell you this. So I grew up in Algoma, Kewaunee County, door-to-door county, right on Lake Michigan. There are more bars. I swear to God, in Algoma, we have 3 bars on every block. I have no idea how they all make a living, but they do. That's the scary thing. They do. But I forgot what I was going to say about, what was that? What was I going to say about Algoma? Wait, what did I give a clue? I totally forgot it. I wrote notes on what I was going to say next. The bar, the dopamine in the bar. But yeah, my dad used to take me to all the saloons. I'm Bohemian, right? Stanglesville, Luxembourg, we had all these saloons. And I played the piano. And he was like the organ grinder. And he would take me to the bar and he would wind me up and I would entertain everybody. And I honestly, so this is why we're often driven and motivated to be doing what we're doing. Now, for me, I think it's pretty positive, right? Because I wasn't getting drunk. I was playing the piano at the bar. But that's what we really have to look at is what were some of those early childhood experiences? How did we get our first fix of dopamine? But anyway, let me tell you another story. It's in my book. I have a book called Winning, How Winners Think What Champions Do. I want to tell you about W. Mitchell. But so much of what I talk about and write about, when I said, what is the difference between you and Albert Einstein and you and Oprah Winfrey? It's one thing how you think. So in the book, I wanted to look for what is the common denominator of winners, of how winners think what champions do. And I remember one of the stories was Oprah. I took an interview of hers. And when she was 5 years old, she had a dirt floor. So don't give me these excuses that you got linoleum or something. So she looks at a TV at 5 years old and said, I can do that. And that's why I created. I don't know if I can show it. Can I show it? No, can't show anything. Can I? I just have to show it. That's
describe what you're showing. Yep.
Yeah, I created this incredible character building program for young children to plant seeds of greatness at the right time when their brains are open and malleable. Because I thought, wait a minute, everybody in my book Winning had a flash of greatness between the ages of 3 and 9. Then later, I'm studying my neuroscience stuff. That is a fact that between 3 and 8, 4 and 8, 3 and 9, okay, we're not going to get it down to February 28th or something, but in that age period, we reveal our calling in life. So if you're still drifting around trying to figure out why you're on this earth, go back to between 3 and 9. What did a teacher say? Because they might have identified your core genius, your inner genius. I remember when I was 5 years old, I can still remember my mother saying to the neighbor, Edie's got the gift of gab. Now I get paid for that gift of gab. So that's how we discover ourselves. Does that make sense? And so everybody in that book, you listen, Carol Burnett, she knew she was going to be doing what she was going to be doing between that age period. You listen to every Olympian. They all say, oh, I remember when I was 3 years old and I got skates for Christmas. I knew I was born to skate. In fact, another person in my book Winning, I got to share this one. Some of you might remember Sarah Hughes. She was 16 And I still remember I was in the Holly Springs, Raleigh area at the time. So that had to be between 97 and I left there about 2000. So she skated in the skated in the Olympics about 15, 20 years ago. But you know what? When she won the gold. Listen, after she won it, they had a video of her. So this is it. You got to have positive expectations. They expected her to win. They came prepared. They had videos of her when she was 5 years old. Would you do that if you didn't expect to win? Immediately when she got the gold medal, they showed a video of Sarah Hughes. She was from Long Island, New York. She's 5 years old, and she's so cute. She's got a fake medallion around her neck. See, you've got to do the role playing. You got to stage yourself for success. You got to give your kids. They have found that people who have done more role playing, like been in drama classes and that, if you're a drama teacher, those people are more successful. Do you think Reagan got in just because he was a politician? Reagan was first an actor.
Yes.
Those are the people, whether you like him or not, I don't care. That's not the point I'm making. It's the point that, yes, if you do role play, because it expands your repertoire. I have a sign on my piano. If the only note you know how to play is middle C, you can't make beautiful noise. So you want to expand. And so if a child is just sitting on this, passively taking it in and not actively interacting and participating in life, you got a problem. And that's how it is. So Sarah Hughes is sitting there as a 5-year-old, and she said, listen to this. When I grow up, I'm going to the Olympics. I'm going to get a gold medal. I can't wait for it to happen. Break that down. It's kind of like grammar classes back when we had to have those. Okay. She said exactly what she's going to do. What do you want to do with your life? If you don't know what you want to do, you're not going to get there. Or any road will take you, but it's not going to end up where you want to be. Number 2, she said, I'm going to go for the gold. She didn't say platinum, bronze, silver, whatever. I'm going for the gold. How high do you want to climb? That's your choice. That is a decision you make. And then she said, listen to this. I can't wait for it to happen. There was no doubt in her mind. None. She didn't say, if I go. She said, and that's what I touch, my whole children's program, everything I do is neuroplasticity and visualization and mental imagery and mind mastery and mindset. Okay. So, but that's it. She assumed it. It was done. It's a done deal. I can't wait for it to happen. That's how you need to approach life. I'm going to tell you it works. I'm going to tell you one more story about W. Mitchell. I'm going to tell you another story. We'll have to do this again because I'm not giving you any time at all. But that's okay.
Oh, I love this.
It's okay. It's okay, Sue.
Oh,
I'm just
yes,
on a roll.
This is wonderful.
People like stories, right? But I'm not telling stories. I'm giving you a message. So another person in my book, Winnie, is, and you have to know, Sue and I had no idea. I wrote a book, Sex for the Soul. I didn't know we were going to talk about that. My kids' program. I did one, what most builders won't tell you. I'm like, okay, what are we going to talk about? W. Mitchell is in my book. I think he's in a nursing home now. W. Mitchell is, I met him as he was a keynote speaker, but he rolls onto the stage in a wheelchair. He's a paraplegic. His face is so skin grafted. He talks about going into parks and all the kids leave because they thought he was a monster. Okay. And this is how it happened. And I used to ride a motorcycle, not to my dad's liking, and I didn't do it long because I heard his story. But anyway, he was on a motorcycle and it slipped under an 18-wheeler and it ignited with the gas tanks. And as I kind of recall, I think he even saw his hands melting like M&Ms, okay, his fingers. Okay, and he wasn't supposed to live, but he's in rehab. They skin graft him and he gets out. And, some of these people just don't learn their lesson. So now he's flying in a one-engine plane. He can still fly a plane, not on a motorcycle, but he can fly a plane. The one engine goes out. Now, you think you have a bad hair day? Think of W. Mitchell, okay?
Oh my God.
Isn't it? And so what he does is, so now that is actually why he became, I think, paraplegic. But you know what? He has a message, or when he was speaking, he did. And it was, you know what? I used to be able to do 10,000 things. Now I can only do 9,000. But I am so grateful and appreciative of the 9,000 I can do. I feel so much stronger and more free than I did when I had the 10,000. So if you have a disability, it's what you focus on. Because I'm going to tell you one other thing. If you focus on the negative, all life is energy. It's a life exchanging process, right? If you saw the law of attraction or some of that, it goes more than that, though. Okay. And so if you're focused, birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, you know why? Because misery likes company. We have all these little wives' tale. They're true. Miserable people attract more miserable people and negative people into their life. So you've got to change your thought patterns, your beliefs. You got to change your energy, your vibration. That's why we talk so much about gratitude. It isn't just being so grateful. I have great people. Okay, that's good. Most people who keep a gratitude journal, which is good, don't even know the neuroscience behind it. It's because when you're focused on what you want and what you have, you get more of that. It's like a cell phone. It sends out a vibration and it looks for something that matches. That's why we say that self-esteem and self-image is important. If I feel good about myself, I'm going to draw good things into my life. If I am depressed and negative, and I think I'm not enough, then my actions, your thought is in your brain, it is in your mind and in your body. I just did a talk on longevity on that. And so if that is your thought, you are radiating out an energy that's going to bring you more crap than you're going to deal with. And that is the bottom line. So now I'm going to tell you another. Do you have a question? I got another story. It's mine.
I'm loving your stories. Feel free to
Do you?
continue. I'm absolutely
Okay.
loving this.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I'm making her job easy. She's the one that gets paid. Okay. So I was telling her I had a talk show on ABC in Milwaukee radio, and I had it in Green Bay. If any of you are old enough, it was, what was it? Reflections with Edie Raether. We had all these mirrors, and I used my hands. Can you imagine 20 mirrors going on?
Oh,
It was opposite the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if anybody ever watched it.
oh.
But anyway, it was fun. So listen, I did well. Wisconsin was good for me. I had a psychotherapy practice in Green Bay. I started speaking way back in 1970, long time ago. Between the two, as a single parent, I did extremely well. I made millions. Okay. I come down to North Carolina, and my problem is, and that's why I plan to write one more book, trust no one, love everyone. You got to forgive them, but we have to be more discerning. I was taught to not be judgmental, not this and that. Well, don't take those things to an extreme because they can hang you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I came down and I ended up buying 35, 40 lots on the ocean here. I had money, I paid it, but there was none of them brought rent. They were dry land. Why did I do it? Because he promised that every week he could flip one for 5,000 or something. And I was leaving a good therapy practice back in Green Bay. That was before we had virtual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was scary. It was scary. I was leaving this really, okay. So he was saying everything I wanted to hear. Later, I found out he was a convicted felon. He had just been released from jail the day before I came down there. He was the mayor of, I'm going to tell everybody because I'm not here to protect him, Jacksonville, Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, that area. He was embezzling. What was he doing? I guess he forgot. But he was taking people's insurance premiums and he forgot to submit them. He was living off that money. And so he had gotten out because his daddy was a senator. Have you heard about the good old boys?
Oh, yeah.
And he got released from prison. By the way, he is now on the cabinet for our governor. He's now on the drug and alcohol cabinet. And so my life went upside down. It was so bad. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. How much time do we have? Okay, I'm going to talk fast. I would go on Match.com, and there were 3 guys that gave me thousands of dollars. I have a German Lutheran mother, Bohemian father, and we don't miss payments. I never missed a payment. But I would meet guys on Match.com, and they'd give me a few grand to pay my. And so my last house was called a mansion. That sounds pretentious, but it was on Home and Garden Channel. They called it a mansion. It was a nice pad. I went from that to homeless. I had no running water, no flushing toilets, no wired in like no flushing toilets. You know what my commode was? The Dollar Tree. They were only $1 then, so I could afford it. Now it's $1.25. So I have this pail. That is what, yes. And then I would look for places that were building. They're called porta potties. And at midnight, I would go dump it. I went from a mansion to that. I had lost, but you see, I didn't lose everything because there are people on this call that don't have things I do. Do you know what I mean? But I know that my positivity, my optimism, I had a mother that I can't remember ever saying a negative word. I can't believe it. I know it's hard. But she always said, look at the bright side. And I did. It gets cold in North. It's going to get down into the teens here. It's not Wisconsin, but when you don't have any heat, I'll tell you, okay. But you know what? I had blankets. I looked at the bright side. I have one of the best views on the lake. I had the land. I just didn't have a house. But you know what? I looked at that and all my stuff's in storage. And it's like, I don't know if I can speak. I don't have anything, but I had my brains and I had my computer. So you know what I did? You got to grow where you plant it. I wrote 7 books. That's all I could do it. That's all I made good of the time. And I'm doing just fine now. I'm bounced back big. And I can help you do it too. And that's why I want to write, everybody says, write one more book. So it's going to be the lessons in my life where I share with you the positive psychology, the never quit, the resilience, and knowing what I wanted. My son said to me, Mom, you can't have what you want anymore. You lost it all. Just admit it. I looked at him and I said, you know what, kiddo? I can't believe you said that. But if you say it again, you're out of the will. And trust me, there will be a big one before I leave this earth. And so you just have to have, there was no doubt I was going to make it happen. And do you know how I bought the house? I'm not bragging because that isn't the point of this, but it's worth millions. And I was homeless just a few years ago. Do you know how I ended up buying it? I got a whole bunch of credit cards. You see these little things? And I did them so fast. We formed a business. And my son had a friend with a perfect credit score. I made him the manager, the CFO of my LLC. And within 24 hours, we got all of these credit cards. They just happened to be sitting here otherwise. So I got all of these credit cards. I bought a house on Lake Norman, and it's more expensive than being on Lake Michigan right now on credit cards. But you know what? Before the interest was due, I got a line of credit, home equity line. And I paid off the credit cards, and then I started putting these vacation rentals in. And it started, this pays the mortgage. I put another one in. See, so I don't care where you're at. With the right attitude, with positive psychology, with optimism, with a belief that you are unstoppable. And that happens to be my new keynote, unstoppable. If you can't walk, dance. And it's about turning tragedy into triumph to bounce back big. Now you know the secrets to success. Do you like it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. This has been such a joy to hear your stories and to have a chance to get to know you here.
We'll do it again.
I love it. So I know we only have about 20 seconds left, but can you
Okay,
share
you know what? If people want to reach out, can I give them?
Yeah.
If you want to reach me, 704-658-8997 or Edie@Raether.com. My name is probably somewhere. And that is one of my websites, Edie@Raether.com. And the children's program is wingsforwishes.com. Give me a call. I can help. And remember, if you're caring about kids, we're going to get grants. I can give you help free. See you later, alligator.